Tea or coffee?
Depends on the time of day. I don't drink jar that often.
Really?
Yeah, I used to drink it a lot at home. My parents, I'll drink it if it's there. My wife is Gujarati, so Gujarati tea is a little bit different. So it's a bit spicier. I like the variety.
We're religious at home. She'll have tea, I'll have jar. She's
Right.
making tea, not having it. It's Barney to me. Beach holiday or city break?
Ooh, good question. Probably beach holiday. I'm more of a chiller, got the view and just absorb some good vibes. I think the relaxed environment, beach holiday all the way.
I think I agree with that because life at the best of times is hectic.
Yeah.
And I could just do with a bit of switch off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cats or dogs?
Cats, 100%.
Yeah.
I do like dogs as well, but I used to have a cat. And yeah, I loved him. He was great.
Fair enough. Netflix binge watch or board game?
Do you know? Possibly neither.
Oh, really?
I think my attention span is so low these days. I only play board games. This sounds so bad. I only play board games to cheat. It's only fun. I'll only play
Monopoly with you.
Yeah, I'll only play Monopoly if I can just do something dodgy and
You're
someone
the
catch
banker.
it.
You're
Yeah,
the banker.
yeah. Or steal someone's money and for them to catch on. It's no fun if they don't latch on. They have to latch on and say, "Oh, you're cheating." Netflix binge watch. I occasionally watch stuff, but when I get into something, I'll really get into it. But I don't watch huge amounts of TV. I'm a very short content consumer these days, and that's indicative of probably my line of work as well. Short, punchy, to the point.
So what do you do in your spare time?
I don't actually know. Yeah, I watch TV. I play in a band, so I play bass guitar in a band. Yeah, so I sometimes practice. We rehearse every Tuesday night. We're playing gigs. I like to socialise a lot. I do watch TV, but I don't watch it kind of religiously. My wife watches a lot of box sets, and she'll religiously commit to 8 episodes of whatever series is coming out, and I just kind of plug in and out. And I'm kind of a bit of a flitter, shall we say. I flit around doing various different things.
Sure. The band sounds interesting. We'll circle back on that one.
Yeah, no problem.
Pineapple on your pizza?
Yes.
Yes. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Concert or comedy show?
Concert.
Winter sun or summer? Winter snow or summer?
Winter, snow, or summer? That's a tough one. Let's go with summer. It's summer now. Let's go with summer.
Yeah. Camping or 5-star hotel?
5-star hotel.
Texting or talking?
Talking. Ooh, that's a tough one because I do like tech. I like WhatsApping. But talking, you can't beat talking. They're getting the message across.
Straight. Fantastic. Well, I'm delighted to tell you that you got 10 out of 10.
Oh, excellent.
Well done.
Well, I like this.
Yeah, this is good. You can
It's
come
the highest
again.
grade I've got in about 40 years.
I know what you do, but for a lot of our listeners and watchers, tell us exactly what you do and who you serve.
So we're a full-service marketing agency. We've been going for 18 years. So by full service, we mean starting with creating marketing strategies, creating the brand strategy, creating the visual branding, websites, and then anything that involves getting that out there. So getting to the top of Google, SEO and pay-per-click marketing, social media, email marketing, and measuring all of that, putting it into place, all the content, which is obviously the kind of hub of it all, measuring it and ultimately helping businesses get a return on their investment. And yeah, that's it, essentially helping businesses build their brand and grow with a very strong brand focus these days. Very much about the people is an angle that we take it and get into the hub of the brand.
Fantastic. And even though everybody needs that, who do you serve?
So our we've got an audience, a client base that's quite varied in terms of the more notable names. We've worked with Lindt Chocolate, we've worked with His Majesty's Prison Service, Tetley Brewery, Agra Restaurants. They're the kind of more notable names, but our real kind of key audience tends to be B2B organisations, manufacturing, construction, or general business services, maybe professional services or HR businesses or recruitment or accountancy, that kind of thing. That's where the vast majority of our client base tends to be. And it's where we've got kind of the hardest level of impact.
Fantastic. Is it a particular size? Is it a particular geography of the kind of business you work with?
Geography is kind of irrelevant. We've got clients up and down the country. We have had clients across offshore as well. In terms of size, probably the sweet spot for your B2B service businesses tend to be, I don't know, a few 100,000 turnover upwards, and that can go into the millions. For the construction and manufacturing, that might be 2 or 3 million. Between, I don't know, 2 and 3 million to 10 to 15 million. That's kind of where I find that usually the owner managers are kicking about. And if we can work with owner managed businesses, that's where we can really have the impact. But like I say, we've worked with very, very, very large global organizations and a lot of smaller businesses as well. But what I've just mentioned is the ultimate sweet spot for us.
Yeah, fantastic. You mentioned branding, and over the last couple of years, we've really focused all our conversations and we've driven our narrative around building brand. And I was watching Christo. You must have come across Christo.
No.
All right. Okay. So YouTube him, or I'll surely.
Okay.
And I was watching one of his videos just the other day, and I thought he summarized branding in a really simple, digestible way because for the likes of you and me that live in this world, it's very easy to understand. And how does brand apply, and how does it add value? And he gave this really simple analogy, which I thought was super cool. So if you were to buy a white T-shirt, a non-branded white T-shirt, it's probably about a £5, maybe a tenner, yeah, depending on the quality of the actual fabric. Suddenly you put a tick on it, or a Adidas, or a Boss, or whatever logo you want on there. It jumps from that £10 to
50, 60, 70, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the power of brand.
Yeah.
That it means something, that I'm going to wear a T-shirt with Hugo Boss or Nike or whatever that logo is, because that means something to me.
Yeah. It develops an intrinsic value. Yeah.
It has a personality.
Yeah.
All the connotations of what that logo and that business is all about. You're now kind of aligning to that personality and that meaningful thing. And I just thought, what a simple way to say the power of branding can elevate something which is just from £10 to £100, 10x.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Take that off. It's just a white T-shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. yeah.
So I just thought, it just stuck with me. And I thought it's such a simple way to really appreciate, all right, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, it doesn't matter what you do. In the sea of noise, how do you stand out from everybody else?
Yeah.
Build your brand.
Yeah, 100%. And I think more so in the last few years since COVID, I have seen kind of more of an understanding and a switch in the creative, in the marketing stroke creative industry towards brand and the way that we view things. We've become much more people centric, if that's a word, because we became very disconnected at that point. We couldn't be around each other. We were social creatures. And off the back of that, I think there's just become a lot more focus on the people side of things. And off the back of that, when I'm working with organizations, defining a brand, there are a lot of businesses, what defines one accountancy practice from another? People might say, well, we're very good at what we do and we focus on quality and we're very honest and we have integrity. It's like, well, shouldn't all those things be a given?
Absolutely.
In a service organization, they call it unique selling point. I don't really think that that's really a thing. It's not like you're Dyson or Apple or what Hoover was, or this next, big innovative thing. When it's people, really the unique element is the humans in there. And if you can actually capture the culture and capture the brand of the organization with taking away the corporate jargon, take that out and just get the human and capture the language of the people. The more human it is, the more it's going to align and capture the similar-minded kind of people. And when those values align, that's straight away a strong foundation for a strong forward working relationship.
Absolutely. And I mirror your sentiment, and I love the way you put that there, because it is a given. Professional, you're on time. So you would, it's acceptable not to be on time or or on deliverables, or just to be professional is a USP.
Yeah,
that's just business.
Yeah,
you've got all of them things, and what makes you different? What's the so what part?
Yeah,
and what's the next bit that actually differentiates you from 10 other businesses in the same region offering the same thing?
Yeah, and the X factor is what makes us all individuals and makes us all unique. And if you can capture that X factor of a business of, say, 10 people. That culture is the combined unit of body between these 10 people and whatever that looks like. And if you can capture that and put it into words and into some kind of positioning and messaging, and then capture that in visuals, in video and on the website and in stills, that's kind of the foundation of what I see as the magic recipe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. Just so we get a good, probably a good picture on the makeup of the agency. Tell me, how many people in the agency?
So we're a
What's the makeup?
small,
Yeah.
we're a small agency. So I'll give you a bit of a background. So at the maximum, we have been at about 6-7 people. We had a really tough year in 2023, and that was 16 years into business. So I actually started to make some changes, and since then we've actually started shifting more towards a more of a freelance model, if you want to call it that. So we still operate as an agency. There are 2 people within the business. We've got expertise across managing all parts of the process. Collectively, at any one point, there might be 8 or 9 people working on a project. So rather than having a number of either junior or mid-level people in-house, I now work with essentially independent senior level people. And that was quite a very considered change compared to where we were, let's say, pre-COVID, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. But now actually, off the back of that, it's created a scenario where we're now delivering the equivalent of what 8 or 9 senior level professionals could do, whereas before I didn't have the resource to be able to do that. So yeah, that's the setup that allows that to happen, and it's working really well. And I realized I was a little bit frightened. I thought, oh no, what are people going to think? Are we downsizing? Are we downscaling? What's the world going to think of me? All those ego type things, very traditional things to think. And I thought, you know what, who cares? I'm going to do it. But as soon as I did it, I realized that there are a lot of agency outfits that operate in the same way.
Absolutely.
And I've learned in the time that we've been doing that nobody actually cares. They buy from the brand, the Expand brand, and they buy from me. And they buy based on the brand that we've built and the trust, and off the back of that, they really don't care who's delivering the work, as long as they know that it is being delivered, and it's being delivered by the piece of people and the brand that they trust, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think we've been lucky in the creative industries for a lot of years to have that kind of makeup of agencies. Of you've got a founder or a leader, and there might be a small core team. In some cases, one person, but there's a collective.
Yeah.
And that collective works on a project, and people bounce in and out. Make a good point of saying sometimes we cloud our own judgment on how we're going to get judged, and we're unsure.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's just experience of, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And you got to navigate that journey yourself and just see what you feel comfortable with and how well it works.
Yeah, 100%. I think, I was very fortunate to grow up in a family that had a handful of businesses, and they did very well for themselves. And, it was always very much a family thing, and probably a cultural thing of, oh no, what will people say? We can't do this, we can't do that. And, there was definitely some part of that sat inside of me. Oh no, I must build this big thing that looks big and shiny and stuff. And I created a beautiful office space and did everything that I really loved. And then I kind of fell out of love with it a little bit. And I thought, well, why is this in my head still? So yeah, that was kind of part of the realization that, well, I can still be successful without crazy overheads and still deliver great work, which is where the real love is, connecting with people and helping them build their brands and seeing an output and seeing what the emotional impact is on an owner manager of a business, saying, thank you, Jag, the thing that you've just helped us with over the past 6 months is brilliant. People are feeding back, and we're getting engagement, and we're getting inquiries and converting, and so on and so on. That's the magic part. And somehow I went from being a passionate marketer to being a business leader, a passionate business leader. But that wasn't by design. That just kind of happened. And I thought, how did I end up over here?
And then you fall into the next challenge of having HR issues, people problems. And it's like, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
This wasn't the plan. And that has a new meaning to business, and your motivation gets drained because if you're a creative, I could tell, and I've known you for years, that's not what we're about.
No, and I feel like it's almost a rite of passage now, having done this for 18 years. I feel like everyone I speak to, when they've kind of set up a new business, and I might be helping a new start business get going, and I'm always saying, the business is going to evolve. So what we do now, there's a good chance in the next 2 years it'll be very different. What we create as a foundation here, it'll evolve because you learn about it, and it is, without sounding cliche, it is a journey, and there's so many things you don't plan for, and it is a baptism of fire, and you just do not know what's coming around the corner. I've gone through so many scenarios where I've made a mistake or something's happened, I've fixed it. About 5 years down the line, I've forgotten about that thing, and then I've gone back and made a similar mistake, thinking, "Oh yeah, I did that thing again." That
history repeats itself.
yeah, it really does. There's times when I think, right, I've fallen into that again. Okay, well, lesson learned there. Let's just double up and not do that one again. Yeah, and there's no such thing as, sadly, we all want an easy life, but there's always going to be a challenge. What I've learned is it just comes down to how you look at it. Okay, is it really a problem?
Absolutely.
15 years ago, I would have lost sleep over a thing, whereas now I think, all right, well, that's happened before. It's not a problem. We made a mistake. Let's move on and let's fix it. So it's all learning.
It's a sign of maturity.
Yeah.
You're a mature business. You've got a mature head on your shoulders, and that's life. You have ups and downs, and to think that everything will be smooth sailing just because, and I learned this early on, and I'm sure this will resonate with you, is more money is also going to mean more business, which is great.
Yeah.
But then your problems
Yeah.
are more as well. So you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
And you've got to just realize that it's part and parcel.
Yeah, great point. I had these ambitions because, again, I grew up, I was surrounded by grow, success, bigger, which is brilliant. And it motivated me and inspired me to set up my own business. And I didn't really know exactly how big I wanted the business to be, but I just had this mindset of it must be big. I must have office. I must have people. And I realized, I don't know, 6, 7 or 8 years ago, something like that, that actually, you know what? I don't ever want to be more than 7 or 8 people. And then when I got to that stage, to the 7 people we had, I thought, you know what? Okay, there's good times and there's bad times. I loved the people part when we were together and we were vibing and brainstorming and having a laugh and having a chat in the office. But you're right, there were other headaches with that. I think I've actually been really lucky because I've always had people around me that I've, for the main part, been brilliant. And I've learned so much from them, and we've done some amazing stuff together. But I learned, going back to the point, where does contentment lie? It isn't more money, more happiness. And I always knew, happiness doesn't exist within money. There has to be a level of contentment, because every time you kind of step up to that next big thing and think, right, next I want bigger and I want bigger. It's like, right, well, where is that going to end? Where does that where does it stop? It is. It can be quite unpleasant. So just knowing where you think, you know what, I'm at peace with this. I'm really happy with what I've got, and I feel grateful and blessed. This is what I have. So yeah, it's been a journey.
We talk about branding and business. Last week, actually Monday, I had Matt in the studio, Matt Essam, and we were talking about he's a business coach and he works in the creative spaces. He helps studios grow. Typically. Any studio between 20 to 30 kind of bums in that environment. And he works globally. He's got an office here. He's from Leeds, but he works in Dubai and he works right around the world. And he takes people back to their purpose. What's their why?
Yes.
And if you can't figure out what your why is, what your purpose is, then he goes, that's the starting point. Otherwise, you could get caught in a circle going round and round, and you might grow, but you don't know why you're growing and what's the purpose of growing and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming to the business, so what's the goal for the next 12 months? And then with that, not working in the business, working on the business, what's your biggest challenge?
Wow, that's a really good question at this moment in time, because we've just shifted to becoming a remote agency. We had offices up until about 3 months ago. We'd had offices for about 17 years. Again, I feel like I'm referencing COVID a lot, but that was a pretty pivotal point for a lot of businesses. The COVID period, from a business perspective, it was quite, everybody needs to go digital. So we had a lot of work. We were very busy. We were very lucky in that respect. And I know a lot of people weren't in that respect. But then, whereas a lot of the world went remote, we remained in office, and we had the office. And it wasn't by force. It was everyone saying, we want to be in the office. And then we got to a point where we were just using it less and less. And I thought, okay, well, right, well, let's just go remote and see how that works. And we now co-work in Leeds 2-3 days a week, and we work from home, and it hasn't impacted us at all, which is brilliant. Now, the interesting thing is, for the first time in 18 years, I don't have a very immediate answer to the question that you asked. I always used to have a plan. And I'm in a position now where I'm just kind of looking around and thinking, what direction should I take it? The core of the business will remain. I know we're going to shift slightly. It's been a while since from a branding perspective, I'm considering slightly tweaking the branding, slightly repositioning. A very big buzzword at the moment is fractional chief marketing officer, which is a thing that I've done for the last 18 years.
By default of serving the customers.
Yeah. It's just a buzzword at the moment, and that might be indicative of the recognition that rather than marketing as being something, let's just pass it to the junior or the admin person, that it's recognized as actually a really important strategic function. Absolutely. Of all the business functions, it's probably the one with the lowest barriers to entry and the least regulated. Laws regulated, finance is regulated, HR is regulated, marketing is like, it's just TikTok or fancy pictures and doing a video on your phone. No, it's not. It's, as you and I both know, it's way more than that. So I think there's more recognition. So that's kind of created an opportunity. We're very strong on strategy, marketing strategy. My background is marketing strategy. Fantastic. So we're just weighing up. I'm just weighing up at the moment what direction it looks like. And like I say, and I would normally feel a bit awkward about not having an answer, but I've given myself a little goal till the end of the year. So I've got another, 4 or 5 months left to just slowly absorb what's around me and decide where I'm going to take it. In terms of the biggest challenge, how long have you got? It's always, it's what is the biggest challenge right now? I think we have become a lot more, dynamic and fluid. So a lot of challenges for me I feel have lifted. Being in the office, it was a beautiful space. I really enjoyed it. But I got to a point, I'd been there 10 years. And it was actually killing my creativity. It really was. We had we had a bar in there, arcade machines, a nice little snug chill out area. And I'm very into sci-fi and Star Wars and music. I had guitars there. I had Star Wars memorabilia on the walls. It was a really cool creative space, which is very 2010 Google, I suppose, is the only way I could describe it. The only thing I didn't have was a slide in the office because we were all on one floor. And coming out of that environment, it got to a point where it just got a little bit tiresome, and I needed a fresh change of scenery. And I know people move offices for commercial reasons. We need to downsize, or we need a bigger space. I've never heard anyone until recently say, I want to move office because I'm sick of it. And that's actually the reason. I was just going to the same place. I needed a change of space. And when I've spoken to people about this, it turns out there's a lot of people who have done the same thing, but they just don't promote it because it's not seen as, oh no, it's not very business-esque. Is it failure? Is it, it's not growing or something like that?
People don't voice that.
Yeah, people don't voice it. And I'm very comfortable talking about these things. So as it goes right now, what is the biggest challenge? I don't see this as a big challenge for me right now. Is, yes, you've got all the classic stuff. Cash flow management, people paying on time, converting a sale. It's a competitive industry. They're all challenges that always exist, and sometimes you have booms and slumps in all those scenarios. I think for me now is, and I don't see it as a big challenge, but the real kind of pressing thing that I'm not thinking really hard about, I'm waiting for it to come to me. I know I sound very hippie-ish with this, but I'm waiting for it to come to me which direction I'm going to go take the business in. And then at that point, I'm going to kind of decide, well, I'm going to go through the process of repositioning if needs be, rebranding, and just rejigging it and giving it a fresh feel, and just take it into phase number 586 or whatever number phase it has. I feel like every business has a new phase every few months, maybe even. So it's not a very straight answer to your question, but it's...
Well, I suppose what you're saying is you're waiting, I suppose you're having processing time just to really see where the lay of the land is, where you want to take that next step.
Yeah, and I think another factor is kind of as an external factor. AI is obviously really powerful tool, and it is increasing. What, every 6 months, it is significantly increasing in power, and that is naturally going to have an impact on our industry and numerous industries. I see AI as our friend. I'm not worried about it. And I said to my team members, what I clearly remember November 2022 when ChatGPT came out, and everyone thought, "Oh my God, it's the end of the world." Not everyone, but that was the general vibe of certain people in the creative sector. And I said to my team, right, well, let's embrace it and let's all make sure whatever you're going to do in your career path, become strategists, because that's the last thing that AI is going to take away from you. And when it takes that away from us, then we all might as well hide away in a bunker, because it's Terminator Terminator level stuff. And I think I'm also just interested in seeing what direction that goes in, and that's not going to stop. It's just going to get better and better. So that could potentially dictate some elements of it, but what it can't take yet is the human side of going back to brand. Can it ask questions? Can it have a conversation as we're having now from human experience? And again, there probably will come a time when it is getting more and more intelligent, but I don't think, I think that will have an impact in some kind of way. So I'm just very calmly just watching everything around me at the moment, which is extremely unusual for me, which is nice. It's a change.
We had Dr. Charlotte Armstrong in a couple of weeks ago, and she's got a big project initiative around device control for children
Okay.
and AI. And I can hear her from the conversation saying, not yet. Where we're saying we can have AI can have these communications,
Yeah.
and it is not yet. And I kind of agree with her. The speed is ramping up,
Yeah.
and the algorithms, the technology, and how it's working. I think it's great stuff. I think it's super clever.
Yeah.
Should we be worried? We don't have a choice in the matter.
No.
We've got to embrace it,
Yeah.
and see how we can work with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same analogy of in the Industrial Revolution,
Mm.
when tractors came to the fields,
Yeah.
and all the farmers thought, "Oh my God, we're going to lose our livelihood," and the landscape just changed.
Yeah.
The landscape's changing again.
Yeah.
And we've just got to understand, all right, how can we make this work with us, for us,
Yeah.
so that we're still in control?
Yeah.
The scary thing is that if it comes in control, that's
Well,
the Terminator conversation.
Yeah, that's it. It's like an episode of Black Mirror. That is the frightening part. But again, I suppose maybe we do have control over it. It depends. This is where it gets. We're not going into like conspiracy theories or anything like that, but it's if the Black Mirror episodes come true, then so be it. We just have to kind of adapt and understand and be aware of where the realities are and where the non-realities are of what AI is doing and capable of.
Absolutely. With branding and the clients you serve, there's a piece of work, if it's a new business or even if it's a rebrand for a client.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a project or a piece of work that can be done at that point,
Mm-hmm.
and then hopefully that has a shelf life of a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes longer, sometimes a bit less.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts around how businesses are, are are uptaking or consuming and producing content? That content marketing piece that needs to be that constant communication to their audience.
Yeah.
What's your advice to them, and what's the kind of feedback you're getting from the clients you work with?
I think there is still a huge learning curve. A typical audience for us might be, say, I don't know, 40 to 55, let's say. And that age group is kind of what, Gen X, pretty much, millennial to Gen X. They haven't grown up with a smartphone in their hand. The way that they kind of engage in business is different to a younger generation. So kind of in terms of educating that audience and going through, the way content should be put together and the types of content you should put together and the kind of content themes and content pillars. It is a thing. There is a huge gap there. And when people get it, they get it. The biggest thing that is, I think the biggest challenge is actually the understanding of the time required to actually put content and expertise out there. Because, let's say, for example, construction. I have clients that I've got years and years of experience. They're amazing. You know, the workmanship is amazing, and they do these beautiful things. They've got so much knowledge and expertise, and these are real hands-on people. You know, the digital world is a little bit alien to them, and again, that's where we come in for that audience. But getting the time out of them to actually get their expertise out of their head into writing or onto video or something like that, it's always seen as a bit of a task. It isn't, you know, work. We get pushback. We get pushback a lot, and it's that part of it is tough. So I mean, if there's anything that I can advise is, you know, just think about your expertise and getting your expertise out across all various types of medium, whether it's visually, video, whether it's in blog format or social media, or you know, via email. The reality is, you know, there's a very old statistic now, and it's probably very different. On average, in a day, we see between 3,000 and 25,000 market messages a day. That, I know it's an old stat, and I don't know what the newest figures are, but they'll be way bigger than that. If you think about opening up your phone, if you're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, you're being marketed to non-stop. You have to have, and again, this is an old stat, you have to have touched base with a brand a minimum of 7 times, have a need or a want for it, and then you'll take action. Again, old stat. I'm guessing it's probably 15, 20, 30 times. So your brand needs to be present in as many places as possible, relevant places as possible. And, you know, when somebody says, I always use the example of, imagine you go to Google and you search accountant leads, and you've never heard of the company in position 1 in the organic listings. You've never heard of the company in position 2, but you think you've heard of the company in position 3. Where are you going to click? You're going to click on position 3, right? And that's the reason you think you've heard of them, is because subconsciously somewhere in your mind, it's just absorbed somewhere. You've seen the messaging somewhere. So, you know, when it comes to SEO and numerous other areas, brand is that secret weapon in SEO and everything else, you know, and that's what the defining kind of X factor, as I said before, is for it. I don't know if I answered your question then.
No, you did. You know, you did, and I think pushback is absolutely. It's either pushback because of the work or the amount of work involved from a client point of view to say, look, we need your voice, we need what's in your head as you say it, because that's where the value is. That's what's your USP versus your competitors or other people in the market. And in the absence of that, it's hard to manufacture that content on behalf of that brand, that business. Because where do we get that value from? We're at the risk of getting it from the same pool as every other agency for every other company. And in the absence of educating that business and saying, this is your real value is your knowledge, you need to give us some time where we can really absorb that. And I think there's a win there with AI, because you don't need to do podcast or production. I mean, there's an opportunity to do podcast and production like this. But even if they were just to film the content on an iPhone and send you video, and then you were to transcribe it, and then from that transcription, you could do all your magic. It's a great way to capture that content.
Absolutely.
From an SEO point of view, from a content writing point of view, even to take direction for graphics and other kind of carousels and other pieces of work. It's a great starting point to say, low risk, low friction, but we can get your voice.
I mean, a great example. I was in Nottingham with a client last week. We've done all kinds of bits and pieces for him for quite some time, and I struggled to get content from him for social media. So I'm always saying to them, come on guys, we really need you to, there's points when they're really good and they send us some really good stuff and expertise and images of things happening in the team, and, you know, stuff that happens on the spot that I can't drive all the way to Nottingham for. Even if I was down the road, I wouldn't be able to just quickly drive there and capture that moment. When they're good, they're good. And when, you know, they're busy, which I understand, they're not so good. In the moment, in the meeting, the MD was talking really passionately about the challenges in the business. And one of the people in the meeting just quickly picked up the phone and started recording it. And he's such an amazing speaker, and he talked all about it in passion. And we got that on camera. It wasn't polished. It was rough and ready. But as a short, punchy piece of content, that's something that laid the foundation for various bits of social media content to put out there. You know, it was, like I say, it wasn't a polished thing.
But sometimes it doesn't need to be polished.
Because
you don't need to necessarily publish that. It's you've got, excuse the phrase, from the horse's mouth. And that's valuable.
And that's thought leadership. It's really valuable.
Thought leadership, tone of voice, all of them things, which is exactly the world we live in. to make sure the brand stands out.
And I think you made a valid point earlier on, where someone's sending a video of themselves talking to camera. There is also a bit of resistance, again, talking about the age group in terms of that we work with. We're not naturally used to we haven't grown up with a smartphone in our hands where we'll just quickly make a TikTok and then post it out and get a million likes. It's a bit of a job for some people. I'm comfortable with it. I work in the industry. I enjoy doing it. But if I've trained people on, okay, all you got to do is pick up the camera and just everything you've just said to me there. If you imagine you did that in front of a camera and sent it to me, and I'll polish it up and I'll turn it into something great. But there is that, I suppose, fear. It's just not a natural thing for some people. So there is that as well.
Absolutely.
Whereas a generation prior is they are utilizing that as a tool because it's natural to them, and that's where kind of this generational element within such a fast-paced industry isn't just something that sits within the creative and marketing sector. That will then bleed out into every other sector. And if the other businesses, construction and manufacturing, that are not adopting these tools, that's where the ones that are going to really kind of shine. So that's the thing that it's a challenge getting them to adopt it and recognize it. But when they do, that's when they get it, they get it.
Absolutely, when the penny drops.
Yeah.
And you're so right, because there's so many dynamics that contribute to just picking up that camera, even if it is your iPhone, and shooting a selfie. We don't have the culture.
Yeah.
In America, they do.
Yeah.
Even our age, or that target market you're talking about, they do have it in their culture. But here, we're very conservative.
Yeah.
It's not the dumb thing. And the younger generation, they're a lot more comfortable with that. The other thing, the conversation often revolves around is, well, what do we say? And it turns out to be a sales pitch.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're overthinking this. Don't sell.
Yeah.
Branding and education is probably where you should, your mindset should be.
Yeah.
That's what your normal conversation is. You're not in every conversation selling.
Yeah.
As soon as we go into content or social media, we think it's
selling mode. Yeah. Do you know, I almost feel guilty at times when I'm having a conversation with a prospect or a client or just anyone, and I say to them, what you've just said there, it could be a blog, it could be a video, it could be a social media post, it could be all of those multiplied by 10. And all I'm doing a lot of the time, I feel like all I'm doing is playing back to people what they have said to me. And I've worded it, I've used their language, and we've used visuals that align with them. And they say, wow, this is brilliant. How did you do that? And I'm thinking, all I did was listen to you. But sometimes, I suppose I understand that, because I know I'm very aware I need that sometimes, people to play stuff back to me. But it almost feels, it's actually, in my head, it's just so simple. It's there. I see it all the time. Right, that's marketable, what you said there. That's marketable, what you said there. But then I suppose maybe I'm taking my own knowledge and experience for granted. It's an easy thing to do.
Well, it's the story of the cobbler who never fixes his own shoes.
Yeah.
You can see it black and white when it's for another business, or a client of yours. But sometimes for yourself, you're just so close to it, you can't see it. I remember in our early years when we were developing our logo and our branding for Box, even though we do Illustrator and Photoshop and InDesign, all of that good stuff, we purposely went externally to a designer because we're too close to it.
Yeah.
We need some separation because we're emotionally connected to it, and all of that kind of, just like having your own child. Just too connected to it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to change lanes a little bit.
Okay.
Rewind back 20 years. Knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
Oh, God and Bennett. What would I do differently? I would, well, if I knew what I knew now, I'd be more confident. I think I struggled with imposter syndrome. I had a fair bit of knowledge, and naturally, when you set out in business, it's a huge learning curve. I studied business academically for something collectively like 7 years, through various stages of, degrees and higher education, all that kind of stuff. But then there is no comparison to doing it in real life. When I got into it, I thought, hang on a minute, I don't remember this in that textbook. I think it would just be more confident and believe in myself. And I think, to be honest, I see that in a lot of people anyway. And I might kind of, I won't say be more confident in yourself. I'll try and encourage them and encourage them to do things and take risks. I hid away. I'm a very different person now than I was, 18 years ago when I started the business, even 20 years ago. I would drive to a networking event and say, "Oh, look, there's a bit of traffic. I'm going to be late. Oh, I might as well turn back. I don't want to be there late." And I knew I was just getting a little bit anxious about being around people. Whereas now, I can't wait to get there. Even if I'm late, I'll turn up. I want to be around people. So I think it's probably more just a very generic believe in yourself a little bit more, because I didn't think what I knew was as valid as it actually was. And I suppose self-doubt is a very natural part of business ownership. It's the kind of thing you don't hear many people talk about. You've got this very classic corporate masculine, I suppose, perception of I am in business, so I will do this and I will be successful and I will not show weakness and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's important to talk about these things now, because I know for a fact how I was feeling at times, and the anxieties that came with imposter syndrome, and should I be doing this, and am I doing this right? And
I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
How do other people do it? And
Yeah.
why do it? And is it a quicker way? Is it a better way?
Yeah.
Is this the way to do it?
Yeah. And if I'm honest, I mean, that never goes away. I'm still thinking, especially with AI, it's like I feel like I'm left behind. I'm being targeted for ads saying teenagers are setting up businesses using AI. Are you over 40 and falling behind? And I'm thinking, yes, that's me.
I saw TikTok yesterday. £4,000, $4,000 I made in 1 week.
Yeah.
And you don't need any skills. I went, really?
Yeah. And it's the messaging that goes out there. And I know it's nonsense. We know it's nonsense, but we still see it. And I have it in my mind thinking, am I missing something here? No, come on, Jag. You know it's not real. There's no such thing. Hard work is what makes a business. Yeah. Yeah. But sadly, there will be people seeing that thinking, oh, yeah, I'll get rich quick. I'll be rich. I'll make 6 figures in 6 months.
I know. Absolutely. So leads me on to the next question. So the new generation, whether they're coming out of school for apprenticeships or coming out of university and they want to start their career, what's your advice to them?
You want to start a career in graft, work hard is the only thing I can say. I'm very fortunate to have come from a family that worked very hard. And it taught me a lot. My dad used to make me go and wash cars from the age of about 8, 9 on the weekends at his garage. And I'd be like, I'm 9 years old. Why should I be doing this? I have to go and sweep the yard, which felt like 7 football pitches at that age. But I learned how to work, and I'm not shy of doing a bit of hard work. And I think nothing beats that. If you're working hard and you're showing you're willing, and you're kind of getting in early and you're leaving late, that is going to demonstrate graft. And I think it's important. It needs to be something that you're passionate about. So work hard and make sure it's something that you're passionate about. Especially in this day and age, yes, work-life balance is a very important thing. I was employed in a position before I set up Expand. They gave me a set of keys. I was 25 and I was turning up at 7:30, opening up. And on some days I was leaving at 7. I was the last one out as well. And I didn't need to do that. I did it because work hard. And it laid a very strong foundation for me. So yeah, I think just do something you're passionate about and just give it absolutely everything.
I think it's a great point. I think it's great advice. And I think the element of them kind of more strategic things as opposed to tactics are in our DNA, because our parents, family business as well, and that's falling into our way of working of work hard. Hard work never scared us.
Yeah,
it's more about get the job done.
Yeah,
finish when the job is done, not like, oh, I've run out of time, let's clock out.
Yeah.
We've got to deliver.
Yeah,
and that builds that element of completion, satisfaction, contentness.
Yeah, the pride in delivering.
The pride, absolutely. With trying not to get tied into the ego of delivering.
Yeah.
Say, oh, it was me, you saw me.
Yeah.
And trying to stay humble, connected to our values and our kind of way of living. So I think, so great advice to youngsters or people coming into the world, because sometimes we always welcome interns and university students to spend time with us. Sometimes it's lacking.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've experienced that as well.
Yeah.
With people you've taken on over the years.
Yeah.
And that's probably why you're now in a strong place by leaning on senior designers and colleagues in your current makeup, because you don't have that same challenge that you might get from juniors.
Yeah. I got a lot of satisfaction out of training up juniors. There are a number of juniors that have gone on to do amazing things, and I feel very proud of them.
Yeah.
I feel really happy that I helped them in the time they were with me. That the foundation is there that built the blocks of supporting them and getting where they're going to go. But yeah, I think sometimes it can be a little bit, I don't know what the word is. It can be just a little bit slow. But then I suppose this is a different podcast for a different day. The education system doesn't entirely prepare them for the working world. And if I'm honest, the job I got was a bit of a dead end job when I came out of university, and I still thought I was a student. And then that was for about a year, and then I got a proper job and worked my way up and worked hard. So the advice I gave about working hard, I have to admit, I didn't do that properly for the first year. I was a little bit lost. I don't know how old I was, 21, something like that. It was, that's a young age to figure out where you want to go. But then I'm fortunate I found it and just worked hard, whatever it is. Work hard, show pride.
Work hard, show pride. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we kind of wrap up, you mentioned for the next 4 to 5 months as we move to the end of the year, you don't have any direct goal, but you're just processing, just seeing really how the landscape changes.
Yeah.
Will you do me the favor of, we're going to stay in touch. We connect on all kinds of, online events and other kind of networks as well. But in 4 or 5 months, when you get to that point where you get clarity on LinkedIn or somewhere social, where public, I want you to say, this is what we're doing next. Tag me in.
Yeah.
I want to celebrate that with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And to me, it's about that, like you said, the journey. And the more we can connect with, colleagues and businesses and see each other prosper into different directions. I see it like a tree. Yeah. As long as you've got a solid foundation and you've got a good trunk, it doesn't matter where you flower.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can stress too much about, I want to achieve this goal or that goal.
Yeah.
Just carry on focusing on the journey and making sure their values are really strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And which is really, I do really agree with that. And it's interesting. Like I said, for the first time, I don't have a goal, but when I'm creating a strategy, the really important thing that I put across is, right, we need goals because otherwise we're just not going anywhere. I think it's important for me to stress, I know I will have a goal, but right now I'm just looking at the lay of the land and then just deciding where I want to take it. Which is also based on personal choices and, what kind of, where do I want my life to go? But like I say, it may not change at all. It may stay very much the same. Yeah. It's just a kind of just sitting down and just deciding. But one thing's for sure is I work in marketing. I love LinkedIn. So you will definitely know about it. Whenever if I'm going to make the smallest change, I will post a LinkedIn post about opening a packet of crisps, let alone anything else. So you will definitely know about it, Rashford.
Fantastic. Well, I want to celebrate that with you.
Thank
it won't be champagne, it'll be an orange juice or a cup
no
of chai.
problem. Yeah, a cup of chai. Yeah.
and that way we can, just help each other move forwards.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, final question for people that are watching, people that are listening. If someone is listening, who would be your ideal customer? Like if there was is it that founder, owner, manager you said earlier on, or a marketing director? Just so that anybody watching, listening, that really resonates with our conversation.
Yeah.
That actually I fit that criteria. I'm in that part of my journey. Who's your ideal customer?
I think what I said earlier on, probably owner, manager. I work with a lot of family businesses. That wasn't really by design, but it turns out to be a lot of family businesses. And I kind of get it because I come from a family business background, which is now in its second generation, actually kind of in its third generation almost. So I've been in and around that. But yeah, owner managed businesses that really in manufacturing or construction or associated sectors that kind of work within that. And yeah, you're ready for that change and really embrace something that's going to take the business to the next stage, is ultimately what I'm looking for. People have dabbled in marketing, but there tends to be a lot of distrust, sadly, in marketing. It's the kind of thing where people can just step into the industry and say, yeah, I can do this. I'm a social media guru. And they just make a complete mess of it. And I always feel I'm fighting with that, but we've got a lot of examples and credibility to show that actually here's a portfolio of good things that we've done. So yeah, that would probably be an ideal scenario for us.
Fantastic. Super. Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, me too.
And I look forward to the next episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.